Land Use, Transportation, and Infrastructure Committee. I am the chair, Mary Beth Sussman from District 5. I'll ask my colleagues to introduce themselves, starting with our vice chair.
Wayne New, District 10.
Rafael Espinoza, District 1, Northwest Denver.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Alex Brooks, Northeast Denver, Fine District 9.
Good morning, Paul Cashman, South Denver, District 6, the heart. Give me a minute here. The heart of South Denver. Thank you.
Good morning, Kendra Black, District 4.
Doesn't give me time.
Zach Rothmeyer, Legislative Analyst.
Good morning, everybody. We have 3 action items regarding the project Platte to Park Hill. And if you've looked at the deck, we've got lots of information to absorb, and so very happy to have everybody here. Who's leading the conversation?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jamie Price. I'm
Jamie.
serving as the project director, and I'll start us off, but everybody's going to contribute today. We can do introductions.
I was going to say, yes, let's start with introductions.
Sure. Good morning, Jennifer Hillhouse with Public Works.
Am I right with?
Leslie Fangman with Saunders Construction.
Jason Kleinalter with Saunders Construction.
Good morning, Todd Schroeder with Icon Golf Studio.
Hail Irwin, I'm not sure where I'm from, but
You know, I recognize you.
let's just say
Look at
I'm a CU
CU
buff.
grad.
Let's put it that way. Good to see you.
Rams. Go
Welcome,
Rams.
everybody. Glad to have you here. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Scott
Rethlick, Director of Golf.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. All right. Jamie, you want to
Yeah, I think we're
take it away?
ready to go. Thank
Yeah,
you, Madam
Happy,
Chair.
Are you going to join us, or are you?
I'm going to be back here in the peanut gallery if you need me to call.
Okay, thank you. Go right ahead.
Well, thank you for having us back. Thrilled to be back here with you, all council members at the committee today to talk about Platte to Park Hill. And we do have 3 actions, as you said, Councilwoman. The first will be City Park Golf Course design build contract, and the Saunders team is with us today, and they're going to help with our first presentation, including Hale Irwin. I just wanted to stop for a minute and say, Hale, thank you for being here today. We all very much appreciate it. You're really the premier figure in Colorado golf, and so it's an honor to have you here, and we're looking forward to hearing your presentation and talking about
Thank you.
the redesign of City Park Golf
Appreciate
Course. So we have 3 presentations in one. The second presentation will be for Park Hill Phase 5, formerly known as Dahlia Phase 5. We'll explain what Phase 5 means during that presentation. And then the third is for construction management, project management support services in support of both the City Park Golf Course contract and the Greenway contract, which is still under procurement. So with that, we'll get going. Second slide, please, Jen. We have an agenda. We've laid out kind of a dashboard on the right side just to keep us oriented. The 3 presentations will show in green which project we're talking about, and then wanted to let you know that we are going to give you an update, brief update on project controls in terms of schedule and cost at the end, and we'll try to save plenty of time for questions and answers. It might be better, Madam Chair, to save questions to the end, but at your discretion, of course.
Okay, we'll see how it goes. Usually questions at the end will work unless there's a point of clarification that people need.
I think we'll have most of our presentation dedicated to City Park Golf Course, and maybe we do pause for questions there. There'll probably be several, so that might be a good place to do it.
Oh, okay, Jamie.
So let me turn it over to Jen. We're just going to do a quick overview on the program and then get right to the first contract.
Okay. So again, as you know, the program's made up of 4 components. We have Globeville Landing Outfall, the 39th Avenue Greenway, City Park Golf Course, integrated detention, as well as detention within Park Hill Golf Club. And collectively, these projects work together to solve flooding in Northeast Denver. Globeville Landing Outfall is being redesigned. It will include an additional 1.5 acres of new parkland. We're also replacing the existing concrete culvert there into a nice natural open channel that will work as an amenity for the park and the community, as well as provide water quality. This project is under construction right now, and is completed, will anticipate to be completed in summer of 18. The next one's 39th Avenue Greenway. This is a system that will collect and convey stormwater, also adding 12 new acres of recreational space, provide an opportunity for people to bike and walk and really just be able to touch nature. That was a big thing we heard as we were out in the community. really wanting that opportunity to have access to nature. This will be packaged with the Park Hill detention area. So we've always talked about these separately. Now we're packaging them into one procurement process. So you'll see that come to you in the fall for a recommendation on that contract. The next one is City Park Golf Course, and we're going to get in a lot of detail, as Jamie said. This team is really kind of the forefront of the presentation today, so I won't get into details, but this is what we're here today seeking approval on that contract. We've had a community-driven process really since the summer of 2015, working with the community. We started with problem definition and moved into an alternatives analysis throughout that year. Last year, we focused on developing design criteria for all components of the project other than GLOW, because GLOW was already under contract, but really working of how do we meet the intent, how do we achieve the vision of the community. And that, you'll see, but worked into the RFP and really was the criteria for this team that's across from us here. We developed a design work group, as you know. We've been working with them for the last 2 years. That's the group, as well as the community at large, that helped us to develop the criteria. We also, that team nominated 2 members of the public to serve on the selection committee with us that looked at all the proposals, sat in the interviews and the workshops, so we're very engaged. So I was going to turn it over to Scott Rethlick, the Director of Golf, to kind of talk us through the details of City Park Golf Course.
Thanks, Jen. This project is a great opportunity for us to update the golf course and meet several needs of the community as a whole. Through feedback gathered from several public meetings and meetings with the design work group, made up of a diverse group of constituents, we developed these goals: a high-quality parkland-style golf course for all skill levels, stormwater detention that is not only blends but integrates into the design of the course, but becomes a desirable golf feature, remain sensitive to the historical character of the property, and serve the entire community and surrounding communities. The selection process started in the spring of 2016 with an 8-month community process. Through many meetings with the public and design work group, we developed the technical requirements to reflect the desires and needs of the community. A request for qualifications was issued in October 2016. The teams were narrowed down based on qualification, and a request for pricing was issued to the remaining teams in January of 2017. Workshops and interviews were conducted with the remaining teams in July of 2017. The selection committee of community members, city staff, and golf and stormwater technical experts selected the Saunders team, who did an amazing job of incorporating the stormwater detention into the design of the course while meeting the prioritized goals of the community. Now I'm excited to turn it over to Jason from the Saunders team. Thank you very much. Again, I'm Jason Kleinholzer. As a Park Hill resident and an avid golfer, I could not be more personally excited to be a part of this project. I will say that our whole entire team, many of which are here today, share that same excitement. We know that this is a tremendous responsibility, and that it's our position to make sure that we continue on with building a legacy project here. We don't take that for granted by any means. But the team that we have assembled is a group of experts and really understand the position of the municipal golf and the importance of that for the community. So I'm going to turn it over to Leslie Thangman, who's going to kind of give you a little bit more background on our team and our approach with our golf course team as well.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, members of council, for your time today. We are thrilled about this project. And as you can see up on the screen, we have come up with a group of people that nationally and locally here in Denver meet the technical requirements that were needed to fulfill the project. We have 5 out of our 12 team members are MWBE members, and 9 out of the 12 are local companies here in Denver. So we're really excited to have them here. Next slide, please, Jen. Listed up here for your viewing are some qualifications of 4 of the key team members. However, what I'd like to point out to you guys is that Icon Golf Studios, Hale Irwin and Aspen have designed and built 6 golf courses together, so they really do understand how to bring an upgraded golf course. J&S and Saunders Construction have just recently completed the Maven Hotel right in downtown Denver. And Saunders Construction has built more LEED buildings than any other contractor in Colorado, and we are very proud of that. But above and beyond our qualifications, as Jason had mentioned, we know that while on the surface this is a drainage project, it is so much more than that. It is about preserving the legacy of City Park and making sure that that legacy continues on after the project's done. We understand that's important to the community. We understand the preservation of the trees, a good reforestation program, and that, as Scott had mentioned, that when we're done, no one will know it's a drainage project, that drainage will be so integrated with the golf, you won't even know that it's there. As well, we really want to provide a clubhouse that is a community asset. And so I'm going to turn it over to Todd, who's going to explain our philosophy in the golf course and the drainage, as well as bringing golf to really every level of player and getting new people introduced. So Todd?
Before we start, excuse me for interrupting, Councilman Brooks, did you want to wait till the end, or
Oh,
did you have
yeah,
a
I'll wait till the
clarification
end. Thank
question? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, sorry to interrupt.
Hi, Todd Schroeder with Icon Golf Studio, and you've heard all of us say this, but I just want to add, I'm very honored to be part of this, what I consider a historic project. It really truly is, and it means a lot to this team, and we've worked together and engaged for nearly the last year to what we feel is to meet the highest priorities of both the city and the community, so we're just thrilled to be here. I am a golf course architect. You might notice on the image up there, that book about Tom Bendelow. If you don't know, Tom Bendelow is the original designer of City Park Golf Course, opened in 1913. You might notice the plaid tartan image on that book. You might notice the plaid tartan coat. I don't wear that because it's stylish. I wear it especially when it's wool and plaid and 90 degrees outside, but I do wear that because it represents membership in the American Society of Golf Course Architects. It's an organization that was founded in 1946 by Donald Ross. It's a rigorous process to become involved. It took me nearly 20 years of craft and design to earn this jacket, so I wear it every chance I get. But anyway, again, I am local as well. As Leslie said, my office is based in Colorado. I've been in the Denver area since the year 2000, but I've been in the golf industry since 1979. I started as a teenager working on a golf course, became a golf course superintendent for several years, then a golf course construction manager for several years, and started designing golf courses in 1992. So I've had the privilege to work with several amazing golf designers and PGA Tour pros, and one being Hale Irwin. Hale's, I consider, a good friend of mine, and we've done several projects together. Couldn't be more thrilled to have him here today. Hale boarded a 5:45 a.m. flight to make it this morning, and so we thank you for that. And then he has a 1:20 flight departing today, so he'll have to leave about 11:30, so we apologize for that. Just so you know, he'll have to step up and leave. One thing about the City Park project that really excites me, and I'm passionate about design, I really truly am, but I specialize and really enjoy municipal redesign update work. I'm doing two projects right now, one in Seattle, one in Everett. One's a Tom Bendelow course, one's a Chandler Egan course, very historic designers with nearly the same goals as City Park. Not quite the scale of City Park, but the same project goals. Preserve trees, preserve the integrity of the golf course, protect the golf course, engage the community members. So it's something that we're familiar to and enjoy doing. Couldn't be more excited. We've assembled a very experienced team. And like I said, Hale is my design partner on this team. Hale is our design advisor. He's going to be very engaged throughout the process. He'll be engaged in the layout, the strategy of the golf course, the feature construction, what it's going to look like, how it's going to play. And Hale and I bring different perspectives to the design. I, being a golf course architect, I actually have a master's degree in landscape architecture as well, and been involved in golf for almost 30 years. Hale is, as he'll probably talk about, has played, and what did we calculate the other day, Hale? 5,500 different amateurs at Pro-Am, seen probably 800 different golf courses, and brings a different perspective as well. So he's going to be engaged throughout the process. And for those of you who don't know Hale, Hale is a professional golfer. He's won 83 times on the PGA and Senior Champions Tour. He's won 3 U.S. Opens, one on a Tom Bendelow course, very famous, same architect as City Park. He is a member of the World Golf Hall of Fame. He has played in 5 Ryder Cups. He's won 2 Senior U.S. Opens. Just stop me whenever Okay. And I know he's a CU grad, and probably most important of all, he was an all Big 8 defensive back at CU when he played there. So there you go. So I couldn't be more thrilled to have Hale as my design partner. We just recently opened a golf course we did together in Durango just 2 weeks ago. It was a great experience. We got to spend a lot of time talking about City Park while we were there, and he's anxious to share his opinions as well, so I'll turn it over to Hale at this point.
Thank you, Todd. Maybe the most important reason that I'm here is because I have family that live out in Norvada. My son and his family live there, and he just qualified for the National Amateur to be played in Riviera here in another 3 or 4 weeks. So there's a lot of reasons to come back here, but this one probably is secondary when it comes to the family, because that's most important to me. But the thing I'd like to add is, and I've mentioned to a few people out in the lobby, is I don't think I've ever been around a group of people who've been more, and to use Todd's description, passionate. The enthusiasm and the passion that has run through this process is unparalleled. I've not been around anybody like these guys, and I have no doubt in my mind that this ship is going to steer a straight course. And all those photos that we're seeing up there and all the words that are being played out here, I have no doubt it's going to happen. There's too much care and too much love and too much concern and to do the right thing for it not to be an exciting project. So I'm delighted to be on board. And as Todd mentioned, I've played on professional golf for over 49 years. I've played more than a few pro-ams. And I've experienced what I think is what the average player, if there is such a thing, I don't know what the average player is, but I bring a vision of what that player I think enjoys. Whether it be a public player, private player, it doesn't matter. You still have to grab a golf club and hit the golf ball. It doesn't matter, what you look like or where you're from, you still have to hit the golf ball, and it has to be fun. And if we can't make it fun, then we failed. And that's what my motto and my design has always been. I want them to go from the 18th green to the 19th hole, looking to play the first hole the next day. That means we're bringing them back. And I think it's going to be the kind of golf course that's, I'm excited because I think when we spoke about the beauty of sitting where the proposed clubhouse will be, looking out in the city and seeing the mountains in the background, there is no backdrop like that anywhere. And our challenge will be to make that golf course equally beautiful. And so the city can be very proud of that. We all are excited to get started. There's very little going to be left to chance. I assure you that this team is going to pull together and do everything they can. I, for one, am very, very anxious to get the kids program started. I think it's very important, and I'm going to diverse here just real quickly because I had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago at the U.S. Senior Open to meet a young boy, and you may have seen this a viral video, who was 5 years old from Boston, and he had had a heart transplant. And the policeman and security there asked if I would mind talking to him, because he had seen my one tournament which I went where the ball went in the ocean, hit the rocks, and came back at the Crosby one year, and he wanted to meet me. And so I met this young boy, and he had his oxygen tank, and anyway, it was quite a meeting, and he just passed away. So for kids, you can't get better than that. So we need to make a program that's right for kids so they can grow up and maybe sit at this table and know what it's like to be a part of something grand. So that was a little off, but that's my passion, is to take golf to the people. So I'll close on that. Thank you very much for.
Thank you, Mr. Irwin.
All right. Thanks, Hale. As Scott mentioned earlier, this really is a perfect opportunity for redesign of the golf course. It's really a redesign and update. What you're looking at on the screen currently is the conceptual plan. And I want to stress conceptual. We're still in the design process for the project, and it's important that we still take feedback as we move along to create a product that meets the priorities of both the city, the community, and our design goals as well. And it has been a true team effort, and we have listened to the priorities of the city and community, and we think we've addressed those in this plan. And I just want to mention or briefly list a few of the goals that have driven our design to protect, update, and maintain the charm of City Park. It truly is a fun, interesting municipal public golf course, and that's important that we maintain that as we move forward. It's one of the easiest things to do as a golf course designer, and Hale will attest to this, is to go out and to do what we want to do. That's easy. What we want to do and go out what's right for the golf course and what's right for the community. So that drives us. It's very important that we integrate, as Hale started to talk about the youth, and we want to integrate the First Tee program, and we have. If you look, it's a little bit hard to see, I apologize, but the First Tee program in our design is literally connected to the clubhouse, not the building, but the golf course itself. It's right outside the footsteps of the clubhouse. Yeah, right, Jen's highlighting it on the plan there. So we want to integrate the First Tee program too and grow the game through youth, which is very important. We did design a product, that meets the American Disabilities Act for golf courses, accessible golf courses. That's vitally critical as well. And there is standards for golf that we have adhered to as we move forward. Also critical is to save, protect, and integrate the trees that exist on City Park. They're magnificent specimens across the property. So we have done our best through our design to do that. We've saved all the perimeter trees around the golf course and did our very, very best to save the majority of the trees on the golf course. That's important. Scott also mentioned this. Another primary goal was to integrate the golf course strategy, character, and aesthetics into the stormwater detention. That's not easy to do. If we've done our job correctly, the civil engineering will disappear. And he'd be the first, Pat, with Martin would be the first to say that. If he's done his job correctly, he won't know an engineer's been involved in the project. So we're spending a tremendous amount of time integrating our golf course strategy and character into the stormwater detention. And if you look at holes on, Jen, if you can highlight holes in the bottom corner, yeah, you can see how the low flow channels and the four bays start to integrate into the strategy of the golf course. Another important goal for us was to highlight the views. The reason we located the clubhouse where we did in the midpoint of the property, and that image you saw earlier of the Denver city skyline and the front range in the background is something that is just magnificent. Hale and I have been around, seen a lot of golf courses, and the opportunity to highlight that view and that community connectivity is just a great opportunity we want to take advantage of. But as equally important is to protect the surrounding views into the golf course. And not only into the golf course, but beyond the golf course. So surrounding community neighbors that still will have their same view to the skyline, to the front range, and that's important to us to create louvers or windows to highlight those views as well. We're also going to create a golf course, update the golf course to modern advances in equipment. The golf game has changed dramatically when this course first opened 100 years ago. And even has changed, as Hale would attest to, has changed dramatically in the last 10 to 15 years. So that's some other considerations we take. And then we're going to design the features that are, really pay homage to the Parkland style of golf and Tom Bendelow design. A few of the highlights of the plan, it is Parkland style. It's 18 holes with returning nines that return right to the clubhouse. It's longer than the existing golf course currently is, which is important because of today's technology. We've integrated the detention into the golf course itself. We think it's welcoming and approachable. One of Tom Bendelow's famous quotes, and they call him the Johnny Appleseed of golf. And the reason they call that, he worked on over 600 projects and all across the country, and he wanted to make golf approachable. And what he called his quote was golf for the masses. It is a municipal golf course, and if we're going to grow the game, this is where golf has to grow. It's not the high-end public golf course or private golf course. It's the golf course just like City Park. And we do feel we have community connectivity as well, and we really paid attention to the community's desires as we prepared our plan. Oh, Hale just whispered in my ear what Parkland Golf is. Parkland Golf is a very pastoral setting, large mature trees, green from wall to wall. The easiest way to understand it is like you're in a park. And remember, City Park is part of the National Register of Historic Places, and City Park Golf Course is right in the middle of that. So it's important that we maintain that feel and character as well. So when we try to save and integrate the trees, that's one part of that. But it's going to have a green, lush look. It has long, vast views, is typical of a Parkland Golf Course, the long fetch. So as a Parkland course goes, City Parks are a prime example, and we intend to maintain that. Here are a few images. These are really the integrated detention images. These aren't of the project. They are character images. But if you look, What we're trying to do is incorporate, those are images of low flow channels, 4 bays on golf courses across the country. And we can, like we said earlier, we can integrate those detention features into the character of the golf course. If you look at that, maybe that middle slide, the one at the left of the middle slide, those are examples of low flow channels and 4 bays. So they don't look like engineered features. They are very, very sensitive to the environment in which they lie. And that's critical to our design. So again, when you walk away, those look just like you would go to a nature center or anywhere and look at a pastoral park, like a parkland golf course, and go, wow, we didn't know that's treating water. We didn't know that's a stormwater detention for 227 acre feet of water in a 100-year event. So we're solving all those issues using the golf course, which is a great resource to do that with. Next slide. A few more character images of the actual elements on the golf course. If you look at the bottom row of images, those are all images of parkland-style golf courses. Ours will have a similar character and feel to that, maybe not precisely of those images, but it'll be green, it'll have big mature trees, it'll have interesting features and green complexes, everything that we want to incorporate into the design. It's important that we pay attention to the details. So that's what's going to make the golf course stand out in the end. So we're really, truly excited about that. With that, unless there's any questions, I can turn this over to Jason.
Yeah. Thanks, Todd. So this is a conceptual image of our clubhouse. This is actually the back side of the clubhouse. So this is as you're finishing 18, this is what you would walk up to. You can see we have a lot of outdoor activity space with a large patio, but really, really large windows on the back side of the building to really kind of bring this outside-inside feel to the clubhouse. This is a big community space. We've dedicated some large areas in there for community meetings that people can have, the city park a group can meet and have their discussions there. This is more than just a clubhouse. This is a community asset. We really wanted to make sure that we focused on that. The first tee facility, I was also a part of that. If you look at the west side of the left side of the drawing, that's the first tee clubhouse. So that'll be a part of the direct contact with the building. That was really important to us as it is today. If you have been out there, it's a separate facility that's far away from the parking lot. It's far away from any kind of facilities, including bathroom facilities for kids. It's not a great place. We wanted to make that better. So this building is now part of that. To make sure that we have access to parking and all those other facilities and snack shacks and all those things. This is part of an overall campus design. We've also included a new maintenance facility down off of 23rd, adjacent to the entry to the main clubhouse area. And again, sort of ease and maintenance. There's not so much drive time between the clubhouse and the maintenance area, and there's not a large disconnect between the two. Yeah, that's our conceptual design there. The best part of that is this, taken from our golf course architect Todd Schroeder on a Saturday afternoon. This is the location where the clubhouse would be. As you can see, the views are very vast. This is a community asset. We want to make sure that the community can use that. But we also, it's very important to me as well, as I drive down 26th every day to go to work, that we maintain the view shed coming in, because that is probably one of the most dynamic drives in the city. And we want to respect both sides of that. So.
Okay, great.
Let me interrupt you. Welcome Councilman Herndon to the table. Go right ahead. Oh. Do you have a question now, Councilman?
Yeah, is this a good time to jump in on the city park?
I think we
I'll
just
ask you
had
all.
2 other slides just on schedule and then the contract terms, and then we could pause.
All right, thank you.
So just generally, when we talked about development of the design criteria with the public, we've done that over the last summer. We're here now with the design build team selection, and we will move through final design this fall and start construction kind of late this year, early next year, and then reopen the course midsummer of 2019. We talked about this, the design refinement process, and it's really important to us. Although the community has developed this criteria with us, we feel like we have a really good starting point. But we understand that we need to go and really have an engaged process where we talk to the community, make sure we're meeting intent and vision. So just as they helped define the guidelines, they also sat at the table with us during that selection process to guide the teams as they came in for workshops and refined those. We're here at team selection, and we'll continue to work with our design work group. We have 4 design work group meetings where we go to that focus group, refine design, come back to them. Then we'll have 2 open community open houses where we're going to the larger and broader community to get feedback. And then we'll begin that design and construction. Just quickly on contract terms, and I'll let you get to your questions. We have a lump sum contract of $44.9 million. $5 million of that is reimbursable by Denver Water, so that leaves us with a total contract amount of the $39.9. The contract term is fall of 2017. We really, as we get notice to proceed, maybe really late this summer through June of 2020. Again, the golf course will open summer of 19, but we have a warranty period and a closeout period for that year. The Division of Small Business Opportunity, this team is meeting those goals of design of 15% and construction of 17%, and that was provided by DSBO to the team. So that is what we had there, and I'll pause here for questions.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Brooks.
Great, thank you. Thank you guys for working on this. I represent this area, and I've been a part of this process for a while. And so, Mr. Irwin, I used to work out at Dow Ward. I was a DB at CU, and so it's great to have you at the table. I don't know anything about golf, but I know a lot about football. And, I do have to say, Jason from Saunders is, in the neighborhood and works out at Denver Parks and Rec. So I know you care about the city, which is important.
Yeah, I'm just talent off his bench.
So I want to get into some of the details of this. I think you guys present it very well, but as you know, there's a ton of concerns in the community, and we have to address some of these. And so, number one, so Saunders, you guys have talked about, and obviously you as an architect, you've talked about the golf courses you've done in the past, but you haven't really talked about the drainage issue. I mean, this is a big deal, and so please talk about that a little bit in some of the design that you've done that's included drainage projects in a golf course.
Sure. Want me to
Go ahead.
take this one? Stormwater is a big portion of any job nowadays, especially when it kind of turns into a greenfield type scenario. One of the most recent ones we're doing right now is in Colorado. It is a built-in system, but it incorporates, which is a little bit more challenging than an open ditch system like this and 4-bay construction. This is a precast vault system that takes care of, I think it's over 2 city blocks worth of precast vaults that we have to put in the ground and actually have certified and relined, and so almost every one of our projects has to deal with it at a certain extent. And I think Colorado would be by far the most recent and most important relevant experience on that.
And as far as golf design, either one of you guys.
I can add to that.
Yeah.
One of those projects I mentioned earlier is called Legion Memorial in Everett, Washington.
Okay.
It's currently in planning and design. We'll go into construction, and we'll start in March of next year. It's a project very similar to the stormwater detention, temporarily hold stormwater. It's not nearly to the scale of City Park, but we're remodeling 9 golf holes on that as well.
And when you say to the scale, you just mean it's not as large as City Park.
Well, City Park, that we're detaining 227 acre-feet of water on a 100-year event. And on this project, we're detaining 17 acre-feet,
Okay.
which still from a golf perspective is a lot. But both these projects pale in comparison to a project I did in 2000 called Cimarron Golf Resort in Palm Springs. It lies in the Riverside Valley Water District between 2 dike walls and just outside of Palm Springs, north of the airport. It's the main flow channel for the entire valley. So we designed that golf course to handle a 100-year storm event, which happened. It happened 3 years after it opened. And we designed all those golf features like we're going to do here, the bunkers,
Right.
greens, tees, fairways to survive that.
This is what I really wanted to get to. So on this, I know this area, right? I'm from Southern California,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Coachella Valley.
yeah. And so, did you Was this because of the 10 freeway's been there for a while, so it wasn't because of the 10 freeway. Why did they want to build to that 100-year storm?
Well, because of the surrounding neighborhoods.
Okay.
There's two dike walls, but it was the neighborhoods that lie just outside that. And,
Okay.
and during that event, it topped the wall just by a couple inches.
Yeah.
But you can imagine what that potentially could have done to the golf course. But we were able to save all of the major features through the design process and what we created. And ironically, it was devastating to the overall project, and it deposited 18 feet of silt across the entire site. It's a 36-hole golf course. 18 feet of silt might sound like that's a devastating item, but what they found was they ended up selling that product. So it was a win-win, a bad storm, but they were able to go back and repair some of the damage to the golf course other than the main features. So
Right.
it's a big project and was very successful.
That's exactly what I want to know. Thank you. I appreciate that. Jen Hillhouse, maybe you can answer this. What is the level of drainage today in City Park Golf Course? Is there a certain, do you all know that?
Jamie can take that.
All the storms flow through City Park Golf Course, Councilman, the 5-year, the 10-year, the 100-year. And I don't know if you're asking in terms of CFS, in terms of the flow rate coming through there,
Capacity
or
that
the
it can handle
detention.
today? Was it 5,
But
10?
there's a 120-inch pipe underneath, and then at the surface, there's depression that handles, I think, and Bruce Johernick's here, I believe we've got about 20 to 40 acre feet in that depression that's there today. So that's happening today, Councilman, is we've got flows coming through there through the pipes, and we have on the surface a depression that would inadvertently detain that water. And what we're trying to do is make that system work much better without moving anything.
Yeah, and so to the viewer at home who doesn't understand suppression in the pipes and all that how many year storm can it handle today?
So that's a very small storm.
5-year?
That less than a 5-year, maybe a 1-year
Okay.
storm. What we're hoping to create is an area where storms up to a 25-year storm in the immediate area would be captured and detained there temporarily, take the energy out of the system, protect the neighborhoods to the north, and then release through that 120-inch pipe. So that 227 acre feet would provide that
Okay.
much-needed protection in a big event.
Okay, thank you. And Madam Chair, just two more just quick things is, one, love that you talked about the First Tee program and your passion for kids. This neighborhood, many of the surrounding schools in the neighborhood are high free and reduced lunch and not exposed to golf at all. And so I hope that we would even expand that First Tee program into our kids of color who are struggling to be a part of this world-class program. So that's just a request, because you're going to have to take on this world-class course for you all. And then, I'm excited that the community, some community members were involved in this process, but I want to ask that there be, during construction, tours of this for the community so they can see exactly what's going on every step of the way. And I'd love to shorten the construction by 6 months. All right, that's it.
Absolutely to the first part.
I like the idea of tours. That's a great idea. Councilman Cashman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So some details on the course itself. Are you disrupting all 18 holes? It looked like the first, what are now the 1 through 4 along the north side have the same alignment.
They do, thank you, it's a great question. We, per the technical requirements, are touching almost every square inch of the golf course, rebuilding the greens, tees, fairways. So some of the holes are in their current routing envelope and maintained. So you could say, even though we're touching them, they're the original golf holes, but updated. But yes, we're touching all 18 holes.
Okay. I assume, as far as parking for the new clubhouse, roughly what is provided now?
I don't know what's exactly provided now, Scott, maybe you know, Jim, I think we're at 190 cars for?
Correct.
190 cars proposed, which I believe is a significant jump than what's currently there.
Okay. And in the style of the course, right now, I love the course. I'm a little antsy on the position of the driving range and the first tee, because those are some killer views up in that area. But, who knows what the rest of the course will be. But as far as style, it's a basic public course. There are no whistles and bells. I'm wondering, as far as sand traps and all that stuff, is going to be the same? Is it going to be upgraded? What do you envision?
We're envisioning right now, again, it would be update. One of the things I've done a lot of research on, and my master's degree was on golf course design, believe it or not, they actually have that. But one thing about bunkers, and Hale will attest to this, bunkers around greens are more devastating to the average player than fairway bunkers are. Okay, so it slows pace of play, and it's more difficult for the average golfer. And we're proposing actually to reduce the amount of greenside bunkers that are at City Park to make it more playable, but provide more fairway bunkers, which actually affect the better player, make it more strategic for them than the average player. So we're going to reverse the philosophy and make it more challenging for players like Hale, but more forgiving for the average golfer, which most of us are. So the style itself is going to be very reminiscent in the vernacular of that design style, that Parkland-style golf course that Bendelow did, but updated.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Sure. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Espinoza.
I don't care where you put the bunkers, I'm going to find them.
Not getting out of it.
No. So where is the depression? I know that's not the current map, but where's the depression today? Whereabouts?
It would be in the same area, in this location on the west side of the golf course. And so what we'll do with this project is just formalize that a little bit more. We are cutting out that side of the golf course, placing it on the east side of the golf course. And that's why you see the entire golf course being redesigned.
Okay. And then the pictures of the different installations, the things, are sort of more of a quality that is in marketing. So can you talk to me about that detention pond and the circuitous route that it's taking, about how that would actually function? I mean, how that would essentially manifest itself on a day like today or a week like this week? Versus a 100-year event where you're getting 17 feet of silt. And then what was that depiction? Because I don't suspect that there's going to be water running in these channels on a day like today, or will there?
Well, there is a base flow in that 120 inch. So, and just for clarification, this forebay, that isn't the detention area. This detention will be integrated right from a normal day. You won't even realize that that's there. This forebay that pipe that comes out through City Park Golf Course will open up, and this is for water quality. It will go into that forebay, and then it will go in a small creek where we can hold about a 5-year event in that. Anything else is going to spill out from that creek. And so really this is a water quality element for the course, and then you can clean up anything I just
That's a really good question, because the low flow channel or the creek that you're looking at, Councilman, is an important part of the project. Like it can handle a 5-year event, which keeps the rest of the golf course in that area dry for those type of events. But we can maintain that a variety of ways, and because we're still in the concept phase, we can actually, not only on a day like today would it probably be dry, but we can supply water to that if that was the chosen way to go. We can supply water through the irrigation system and run water through that pond if you wanted moving water at all times. So that's an operations issue. I'm looking at Scott, and it's a design issue and a character issue that we're just not there yet. But on a day like today, it would be dry, but it's planted with native grasses, which helps the water quality. It's a habitat. It's a great area for local habitat. It's a great feature for the golf course design strategy and character. And it's critical to the plan as well. And the reason it's securitous and winds its way through the property, there's a minimum lineal feet we needed to provide in order to address the storm events, and that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. I think it would be good for the public, but definitely good for me to understand is, again, so, what is the invert elevation? What is the bottom of that pond versus the fairway on either side? And a cross section through that, and so that what does it look like in an unfilled, sort of irrigation, using the irrigation to make it look like a water feature. So as just a dry area, what does it look like in a 5-year event? What does it look like in a 20-year event? And what does it look like in a 100-year event? Same with the channel. I get that you need that distance in order to to hold a certain volume of water, and that's going to lend itself to, again, a depth. And then it's probably going to, gradually be graded away so that it too can then capture some area. And again, I would like to see those cross sections to sort of see, because I don't even know what level of event is depicted here, because it's certainly that's how it's probably going to be portrayed on a card. Well, yeah, that's probably what this is mocked up.
Yeah.
But it's not going to look like that.
Yeah, exactly. And this is still conceptual, and we've convinced ourselves that we've got the right calculation for the 100-year event. That's a very good set of questions, and it'll advance as the design comes through, but we'll absolutely provide that to you.
And would that area entirely be out of bounds, or would it be playable?
It would be playable. It'd be marked as a hazard, but playable. And I'm looking at Jamie, but I do believe we have a lot of those sections already drawn and available, and it's a great idea that we will definitely flesh those out and probably more color details and sections as we move forward.
And then again, back to how the plate that controls the flow.
Yeah.
Once that pond is in full capacity, storage capacity on, say, a 5-year event or a 20-year event, what is the time duration that it would be, filled? And how
Todd,
long
could I
Yeah,
just add to that, Councilman? In terms of the grade change, I think we are hopeful, looking at Todd and Hale, but in terms of the grade change, adding to the interest in the design of the golf course, we'll be going deeper than we are today, but we think that that'll be a part of the amenity as well as the low flow that's depicted on this image. Wanted to also emphasize that we're doing detention, not retention. So the detention means that we're going to back up the water and let it go much faster than if we're retaining it for a period of time. In the smaller storms, it's a matter of hours that water would be gone. And I believe part of the design is going to be resiliency to that water coming in, holding for a couple hours and going out. Not necessarily the case in a 100-year storm. That's a different, but in the smaller storms, we're going to design for that.
Just to tag on to that also, Councilman, 72 hours, turf can survive underwater for roughly 72 hours. So we're much quicker than that. So we're taking into consideration some of the technical aspects as well for the quality of the golf course and for Scott and his crew.
Yeah, and then two other things, again, and I apologize, I read plans for a living, so I would like to see sort of a before and after, or just a site plan, a black and white site plan, where you're indicating which of the trees are existing to remain, which ones are new, and which ones are demoed or removed. And I would also like to see a sort of cut and fill diagram or something that shows how much terrain change is actually occurring here. Because one of the things, as boring as it is, the sort of the flatness and the relative flatness of the course is part of its historical, it's defining historical character as the sort of anybody can play their sort of thing because it's not Fitzsimmons flat, but it's close.
Yeah, and as we move through the concept plan process, as we move forward, we've already submitted all those images, but we just haven't released them yet until we understand what this is going to be. But we have sections, we understand what this is going to look like. We have cut fill diagrams, we have grading plans. So we will make those more available as we move forward, when the time is right in the process and how we do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Cashman?
Yeah, just to follow up on what Councilman Espinoza said, I forgot to ask. At this point in time, how many trees are we losing? You said you're protecting the perimeter trees. Talk about the rest of the loss and the replant and all that.
So we are saving over 70% of the trees. I can't remember the exact number. I should have brought my presentation. But we're saving, again, over 70% of the trees. And we are saving all but 5 of the perimeter trees. I want to make that clarification because if you can see the clubhouse behind me, we've located a new entryway, and that entryway is the only reason that we are losing those 5 trees. We are preserving the 2 historical groves that are on the site. And the majority of the reason why we're losing the trees inside that we are is because to remove enough dirt for the drainage solution.
Do you have any estimate of number? Because we've
Ryan,
heard
do
all
you have-
kinds of numbers.
Ryan?
We're preserving 561.
So somewhere around,
Would you repeat that number?
Can-
No, not
walk up
yourself,
to
but
the-
somebody at us.
Introduce yourself.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Ryan Goddard with Dig Studio, landscape architect. And there are currently 824 trees on the site. We are preserving 561, and that's with the current plan, and removing 263.
And Ryan, just for clarification, how many are we replanting back on site?
One moment.
While he's looking for that number, I'll just say the reforestation plan that Dig Studio has come up with isn't just about replacing trees. I mean, that's important, but it's also with the differing varieties of trees that will be more hardy to non-potable water, which is how this course will be irrigated, and to really for the health of the forest at City Park.
yeah.
Right, and the current plan is proposing 760 trees to be replanted.
Okay.
On top of the 5.
No, wait, hold on, Happy, gotta get gotcha.
Thank
give
you.
a microphone.
And so let me clarify a little. The 760 trees are what would be required under our tree replacement plan. Many of those will be replanted on the golf course, but not all of them. And so the plan would be to plant those in nearby public park spaces.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Cashman. President Brooks, did you have a question? I didn't know whether you had.
I
Nope.
did not, Dr.
All right. Councilman Espinoza?
I'm glad you mentioned the entry because as somebody who wishes they could golf more than they actually do, one of the nice things for me, for some reason, is to see the driving range and the clubhouse right there off of York. Sort of just looks like I could just roll in there on any lunch hour and pick up a space and do that. So I'm a little disappointed that we won't get that experience on York. But I am curious about whether you got any input on this entrance off of 23rd. Because that is already a sort of can get really congested at times. I would hate to see us having to put a signalized intersection there to sort of start to handle additional flows. So it just seems really odd to me that we would have taken and added more complexity to an area, because there's also planned expansion for the zoo and for the Museum of Nature and Science, and I don't know. So why?
Sure, yeah, I can take that. So we had extensive conversation in the community about the entrance. There was a lot of concern about locating off 26. I think our traffic engineers would have preferred 26 because we have less traffic, but the community was very much wanting a community road, a local roadway, and kind of pushing that traffic to more of an arterial park road. So we talked extensively about that. That was the preference, that it was off of 23rd and aligned with the zoo, so that we could actually, in ways you can help operations when you're aligning things, and we can control. Right now, it can be very difficult to get out of the zoo. The signal is something that we are thinking that may need to be required. More additional analysis needs to go into exactly what we need there, and we can keep you abreast as we learn more. But certainly was a desire from the community to be located at this point.
If you end up going the signalized route, I don't know this to be the case, but we were just having the conversation with Superfly on Golden Gate Park. If there's sort of a different aesthetic or something that can be done, sort of to recognize that you're in the middle of a park rather than just treat it like any other public works intersection, that'd be good. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. I think we have 11 more slides in this deck, so.
Real quick, Madam Chair, I
Okay.
apologize. I do apologize that Hale has to leave in a few minutes, so if there's any last questions for Mr. Irwin, we open the table for that.
Thank you. Are there any other last questions for Mr. Irwin? Councilman Espinoza?
Hey, I apologize, because my dad's a huge fan, of you and many of your era in the tournament. But I am sort of known for not being the gentlest of asking questions. How many rounds have you played on City Park?
Oh, boy, you're going back to when I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's
Is
your?
that a good enough answer?
Okay. I mean, are you going by memory, or have you played it recently?
I have
prior
not
to
played
this
it
thing?
recently,
Yeah.
but Todd and I have been on site.
Different way of not playing, but on site.
But, yeah, not playing, but viewing it, there's, let's just say that there's an eye that you can have for golf. You don't necessarily have to play it, although I have played City Park.
Yeah.
It's been years ago when I had a much different golf game than I do now, and I have far more experience in seeing what is probably best, in my opinion, what is best for the redesign of City Park. So that's what we're bringing. I don't want you to get the impression that this thing's gonna be turned upside down and a whole, excuse me, a whole different atmosphere. It's gonna be what we consider a better atmosphere for golf.
So
Certainly the clubhouse, I think, will be
So then, just tapping that memory that you had as a young non-pro, with that being your opportunity to play, what was it about City Park that made it golf course? Was there anything memorable about it that you can recall?
Well, let's put it this way. I grew up in the Boulder area and Denver playing city golf courses, municipal golf courses. So was I old enough then to recognize what City Park offered versus Welshire or any of the others? No. I'll be perfectly blunt and say, no, I wasn't. But as I grew and learned what made a better golf course or a better golf experience, I do believe for all the reasons given by the team, I had adhered to all of those, because this does have a history to it. Now, you want to talk about a history? My history is that I lost 3 golf balls at City Park.
How the heck did
So,
you do that?
well, they were taken out of my bag. So, I didn't have any balls. I had to go buy golf balls. First and last time I ever had to buy a golf ball. But anyway, and those water features, they're to collect golf balls. So you can always have a constant flow of golf balls. We sell more in the pro shop. I don't mean flippant about an answer. I don't mean that at all. But I think that when you see the people that are going to come and play it, and the excitement that would be generated by a new city park, we're bringing it forward. It's already nice, but we're going to make it great. And I say that, again, I don't mean to be flippant, and I don't mean to be boisterous. I'm just stating what I think is fact. And what I remember about City Park was not necessarily how the layout goes or the designer or anything like that. It's the experience that the community has when you go play these kinds of golf courses. I don't know if that answers your question at all. But
No, it does, and I appreciate the candor and the response. I worked on the state capitol for 8 years, and one of the amazing things about it is that every time I went into that building and looked at a part that I had been in many times before, you would notice something else, and you would notice something else. And whether your schedule is probably too burdensome to do it, but I encourage everybody who's involved in this, and including members of council, to get out and play as many rounds as you can right now, because that's going to inform you each time about, well, wait a sec, that part needs to stay. That part needs to stay. Because and if you're doing it sort of more cognizant that you're just, what is it about this experience? I think it'll really inform the decision-making process. So.
Next meeting is on the golf.
All right, thank you. But thank you.
Mr. Irwin, we're going to let you leave, but we want to tell you how much we appreciate you being here.
thank you
very
so much. I
Very-
appreciate the opportunity.
And-
And I know that you have some heavy decisions to make, but at the same time, we want to be the lightest of that decision you have to make. We're very confident and very enthusiastic, and as the word that comes out is passionate about it. There's a lot of reasons for that.
Yes.
So thank you all for inviting me. I appreciate it. Team, see you
you.
later.
We'll try not to screw it up.
Safe travels to you. Thank you for visiting us.